In today's episode, we delve into the life of Julian Assange, computer programmer, publisher, editor, activist, and the infamous founder of WikiLeaks. Assange's exposure of government secrets and relentless standoff with global powers have forever changed the landscape of transparency and justice. His quest has challenged the integrity of journalism, uncovered dark truths among those in power, exposing media manipulation by corrupt authorities. Roots of rebellion, early life and influences. Julian Assange was born on July 3, 1971 in Townsville, Australia. His childhood was marked by constant movement, living in over 30 towns and cities. His mother, Christine, was a visual artist and activist involved in environmental and anti-nuclear protests. His biological father, John Shipton, an anti-war activist, separated from Christine before Julian was born, but he and Julian have maintained a good relationship. Christine later married Brett Assange, a theater director who became a pivotal figure in Julian's life. Brett provided stability and nurtured Julian's interests in social justice and activism, leading him to adopt the surname Assange in honor of his stepfather. From a young age, Assange was fascinated by technology. His mother bought him a Commodore 64 in his early teens, sparking his passion for exploring the digital world. Assange quickly mastered the basics and taught himself computer science and cryptography. By his teenage years, Julian Assange had immersed himself in the hacking world under the pseudonym Mendax, meaning nobly untruthful, inspired by Horace's phrase. He believed his hacking, though illegal, was morally justified. Assange co-founded the International Subversives with two fellow hackers, aiming to reveal hidden truths and expose flaws within powerful systems without causing harm. The Digital Crusader: Evolution into a Hacker. In the late 1980s, between the age of 15 and 18, Assange, along with the International Subversives, quickly made a name for themselves. They penetrated the network of powerful organizations, including NASA, the Pentagon, the U.S. Department of Defense, and various multinational corporations. One of the most significant events during this period was the Melbourne hack. In 1991, when Julian Assange was 20 years old, the Australian Federal Police raided his home, leading to his arrest and charges for hacking-related offenses. He pleaded guilty to 25 charges but was released on good behavior, as the judge acknowledged his quest for knowledge rather than malicious intent. This experience marked a turning point, reinforcing his determination to fight for transparency. Julian Assange collaborated with other activists to develop free software tools. In 1991, at the age of 20, he was recognized by The Guardian as probably Australia's most accomplished hacker. By 1993, at 22, Assange helped the Victoria Police Child Exploitation Unit prosecute individuals involved in producing and distributing child pornography. In 1993, Assange joined the cypherpunk mailing list, focusing on privacy and cryptography. He created programs under rubber hose to protect data with encryption techniques, inspiring today's digital security practices. He also developed the strobe port scanner, software that identified vulnerabilities in numerous computers simultaneously, improving the ability to find and fix security flaws. In 1996, at 25, Assange ran the Ocrypto forums and websites, offering computer security advice to thousands of subscribers, highlighting his commitment to privacy and information protection. By 1998, at 27, Assange co-founded Earthman Technology, a company specializing in network intrusion detection technologies. He also worked as a consultant for a major corporation, showcasing his expertise and dedication to cybersecurity. If you have enjoyed my video so far, please like, subscribe to Ratio Freedom, and click the bell icon to be notified of new content. Feel free to leave a comment with suggestions for other heroes you want me to cover next. Thank you for watching. Beacon of Transparency, founding WikiLeaks.
It's been reported that WikiLeaks, your baby, has, in the last few years, has released more classified documents than the rest of the world's media combined. Can that possibly be true?
Yeah, can it possibly be true? It's a worry, isn't it? That the rest of the world's media is doing such a bad job that a little group of activists is able to release more of that type of information than the rest of the world press combined.
In 2006, Julian Assange founded WikiLeaks with computer programmers, mathematicians, and activists. This nonprofit organization aimed to publish classified and sensitive information from anonymous sources. Driven by Assange's belief in transparency, WikiLeaks sought to expose corruption, war crimes, and government misconduct. Assange envisioned a platform to reveal the hidden actions of powerful entities and hold them accountable. In December 2006, Assange published a 5-page essay outlining WikiLeaks' strategy and ideological foundation. He proposed using leaks to force organizations to reduce abuse and dishonesty or pay a secrecy tax. WikiLeaks was set up in a uniquely innovative way that revolutionized the handling and dissemination of classified information. The brilliance of Julian Assange in establishing WikiLeaks lies in several key aspects. Secure portal for anonymous submissions. WikiLeaks created a secure, encrypted portal for whistleblowers to submit classified information anonymously. This ensured the safety and anonymity of the sources, protecting them from retaliation. Analysis and verification. Once information was submitted, WikiLeaks would meticulously analyze and verify the documents to ensure their authenticity and relevance. This step was crucial in maintaining the credibility and integrity of the information they published. Partnership with news agencies. WikiLeaks partnered with major news organizations such as The Guardian, The New York Times, and Der Spiegel. These collaborations helped spread the information to their audience, ensuring proper awareness. Legal strategy. WikiLeaks operated as a submission portal, avoiding legal charges of document theft by not directly stealing the documents. By passing leaks to reputable news agencies, the information was published within a journalistic context, further protecting WikiLeaks from legal repercussions. Use in legal proceedings. The ability to use the classified documents in court against corrupt organizations was also innovative. If whistleblowers published the leaks themselves, the documents might be deemed inadmissible as evidence. However, by channeling the information through WikiLeaks and its partner organizations, the documents could be legally used in court proceedings to hold the corrupt entities accountable. Early leaks. WikiLeaks' first major release came in 2007, when it published a manual for the U.S. Army's Guantanamo Bay operations. This set the stage for a series of high-profile leaks that would gain global attention and profoundly impact public awareness and discourse. The collateral murder video released by WikiLeaks in April 2010 showed a U.S. military helicopter firing on and killing 18 people, including 2 journalists and several Iraqi civilians, in 2007. This incident occurred during the Iraq War, highlighting the brutal realities and often hidden consequences of military actions. Just a few months later, in July 2010, WikiLeaks made headlines again by posting more than 91,000 classified documents related to the Afghanistan war. This was the largest leak of classified documents in history at the time and provided an uncensored look at the realities of the war.
The goal is to use Afghanistan to wash money out of the tax bases of the United States, out of the tax bases of European countries, through Afghanistan and back into the hands of a transnational security elite. That is the goal, i.e. the goal is to have an endless war.
In October 2010, WikiLeaks released 400,000 classified military files chronicling the Iraq War. The next month, in November 2010, WikiLeaks released the Cablegate files, 250,000 U.S. diplomatic cables. These documents revealed U.S. espionage against the UN, exposed tensions with allies, and uncovered instances of global corruption. The sheer scale and content of these leaks shook the diplomatic world and sparked widespread debate about government transparency and accountability. Financial threats.
WikiLeaks for what it is, a terrorist organization whose continued operations threatens our security. Shut it down. Shut it down. It is time to shut down this terrorist organization, this terrorist website, WikiLeaks. Shut it down.
As WikiLeaks gained notoriety, it faced severe financial sanctions from banks and governments. In 2010, Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal blocked donations, cutting off critical funding to WikiLeaks. In response, Julian Assange turned to Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, to circumvent financial censorship and ensure secure transactions. By adopting Bitcoin, WikiLeaks continued operating and received global support. This strategic move secured the organization's financial stability and highlighted Bitcoin's promise of financial freedom. Later, Assange tweeted gratitude to the U.S. government for the significant gains WikiLeaks made by holding Bitcoin, showcasing the currency's effectiveness in upholding financial resilience and independence.
But right now, the most interesting thing happening is Bitcoin. It's probably the most interesting intellectual development on the internet in the last 5 years.
Legal challenges. As WikiLeaks published sensitive documents, Julian Assange faced mounting legal pressures. In August 2010, Assange visited Sweden seeking protection from the U.S. government. 3 months later, Swedish authorities issued an arrest warrant over sexual offense allegations from 2 women. The warrant was terminated the next day due to lack of evidence, but was reopened on September 1, 2010 by Marianne Nee, citing enough evidence to proceed. By reopening the investigation despite the initial lack of evidence, Sweden appeared to appease international pressures while complicating Assange's asylum efforts. Assange denied the allegations, viewing them as politically motivated, and feared extradition to the U.S. under the Espionage Act, which could potentially lead to a life sentence or the death penalty.
Can't tell you what it's like to wake up one day and see millions of websites saying that you are a rapist. Millions.
How do you react to that?
Was the worst experience, I think the worst experience I've ever had in my life was to see that.
Sweden closed and reopened the case multiple times until 2019, raising questions about the true motivations behind their actions. With his options rapidly dwindling, Assange was under immense pressure. Time was running out, and the threat of extradition loomed larger each day. Authorities were closing in, and Assange knew he had to act swiftly to avoid capture. Then, in a dramatic turn of events, Assange vanished. For months, his whereabouts were unknown, leaving the world in suspense. Suddenly, in June 2012, Assange resurfaced with a shocking announcement. He had taken refuge in the Ecuadorian Embassy in London. Inside the embassy, he was granted political asylum by Ecuador, providing him with a temporary shield from extradition. Confinement. Life in the Ecuadorian Embassy. In June 2012, the Ecuadorian government granted Julian Assange asylum in its embassy in central London. Assange's new residence was a small, confined space, which included a room converted into a living area and a workspace. The room was equipped with a bed, a desk, and a computer, surrounded by books and papers. Unique features included a treadmill for exercise and a sun lamp to compensate for the lack of natural sunlight, reflecting the efforts to maintain his health in such limited conditions. Life in the embassy was challenging for Assange, who was unaccustomed to confinement due to his nomadic childhood. He had limited access to the outside world, relying on visitors for social interaction and information. The prolonged confinement severely impacted his health, causing respiratory issues, dental problems, and other physical ailments due to the lack of fresh air, sunlight, and medical care. The psychological toll was equally profound, with severe stress, anxiety, and depression resulting from isolation and the constant threat of extradition. Echoes of resistance. Despite these conditions, Assange continued his work with WikiLeaks, coordinating releases and communicating with supporters in the media. On August 19, 2012, he addressed the public from the balcony of the Ecuadorian Embassy, demanding that the United States drop its witch hunt against WikiLeaks and urging the U.S. to respect freedom of speech and the press. On September 26, 2012, Assange delivered a speech via satellite to a full conference room at the United Nations, asking the U.S. government to end its actions against him and his website. The event, held by the Mission of Ecuador on UN grounds, highlighted the international dimension of his struggle. In November 2012, Assange's book, Cypherpunks: Freedom and the Future of the Internet, was published. Based on discussions with fellow activists, it explored internet freedom, surveillance, and the future of online privacy. In 2013, Assange demonstrated his unwavering commitment to protecting whistleblowers by helping Edward Snowden evade U.S. law enforcement, solidifying his role as a guardian of whistleblowers. The Cypherpunk mission. As the 2016 U.S. presidential campaign intensified, Assange continued his fight. He openly criticized Hillary Clinton, predicting her presidency would lead to more wars. WikiLeaks released nearly 20,000 emails from Democratic National Committee staffers, revealing favoritism towards Clinton over Bernie Sanders. This release was strategically timed to coincide with the Democratic National Convention, amplifying its impact. Later in the year, WikiLeaks published emails from Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta, further entangling Assange in the electoral controversy. After the DNC email leaks, the media pushed the narrative that the hacks were Russian orchestrated in support of Clinton. In 2017, while in the embassy, Assange denied these allegations, distancing himself from claims of Russian collusion and countering the propaganda against him.
We have said repeatedly over the last 2 months that our source is not the Russian government and it is not a state party.
The media's focus on the Russian narrative distracted the public from the essential leaked information. Assange continued his support towards whistleblowers, offering President Obama to be extradited in exchange for clemency for Chelsea Manning. President Obama later reduced Manning's sentence, freeing her in January 2017. In March 2017, WikiLeaks released its most significant leak, Vault 7. This groundbreaking revelation exposed the CIA's extensive hacking capabilities, revealing the sophisticated tools used to infiltrate smartphones, computers, and other devices. The magnitude of this leak was unprecedented, as it uncovered information previously secured on a private network, showcasing Assange's remarkable ability to access and disclose highly sensitive material. Vault 7 was the largest leak against the CIA in history, significantly intensifying the U.S. government's efforts to capture Assange. Attorney General Jeff Sessions declared his arrest a priority, reflecting the immense impact and threat that Vault 7 posed to U.S. intelligence operations. This leak was a monumental embarrassment for the CIA, highlighting Assange's relentless commitment to transparency. His asylum's end. Throughout his stay in the embassy, Assange was under intense surveillance by British authorities. The Metropolitan Police stationed officers outside the building 24/7, ready to arrest him if he tried to leave, costing UK taxpayers approximately £12.6 million. In 2019, after nearly 7 years in the embassy, Assange's asylum was revoked by the new Ecuadorian president, Lenin Moreno. The Ecuadorian government cited Assange's alleged violations of the terms of his asylum through continued activities. Additionally, tensions had risen between Assange and his hosts over his behavior and the strain on embassy staff and resources. While staying at the embassy, Assange leaked information about the newly elected Ecuadorian President Moreno's corruption scandal. Furthermore, in October 2018, Assange attempted to sue the embassy for cutting off his internet access, highlighting the deteriorating conditions of his asylum. On April 11, 2019, the London Metropolitan Police arrested Assange, ending his prolonged confinement. Despite his relentless fight for transparency and justice, the forces arrayed against him eventually succeeded in bringing him into custody.
UK must resist. UK resist.
No worries.
UK must resist.
Struggle for freedom, imprisonment, and torture. After his arrest in April 2019, Judge Deborah Taylor jailed Assange for 50 weeks in Belmarsh Prison for breaching bail conditions. Belmarsh, a high-security facility often referred to as the UK's Guantanamo, is known for housing dangerous criminals. His confinement has been widely criticized as disproportionate and inhumane, given his status as a publisher and journalist. This highlighted broader concerns about the treatment of whistleblowers and the personal cost of challenging powerful entities and advocating for transparency. Reports indicate that Assange has been held in solitary confinement for up to 23 hours a day, with minimal contact with other inmates or the outside world. This extreme isolation has raised serious concerns about his mental and physical health. He has suffered from respiratory issues, significant weight loss, severe depression, and suicidal thoughts. Niels Melzer, the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture, has been a vocal critic of Assange's treatment. After visiting Assange in 2019, Melzer reported that Assange exhibited symptoms of psychological torture, including extreme stress, chronic anxiety, and intense psychological trauma. In November 2019, Sweden finally closed the case against Julian Assange, citing insufficient evidence and the considerable time that had passed since the alleged offenses. This decision came after several instances of reopening and closing the investigation. In January 2021, District Judge Vanessa Bereitzer ruled against Julian Assange's extradition to the U.S., citing concerns about his mental health and suicide risk under harsh U.S. prison conditions. This was a significant victory for Assange, but his legal troubles continued as the U.S. government appealed the decision, resulting in prolonged detention and multiple court hearings. On June 17, 2022, UK Home Secretary Priti Patel approved Assange's extradition to the United States. Assange was given 14 days to appeal the decision. However, later that month, Lord Justice Holroyd at London's High Court ruled that Assange had no legal grounds to appeal. In March 2024, the court put the extradition on hold, requiring the U.S. to provide assurances that Assange would not face the death penalty. On April 10, 2024, President Joe Biden announced that the U.S. was considering dropping its prosecution of Assange following a request from Australia. The country's Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, backed a motion calling for Assange's return to his birth country. On June 24, 2024, the U.S. Justice Department and Assange revealed a deal in which he would plead guilty to one criminal count and be sentenced to time served. Assange was released from prison on June 25, 2024, after over 5 years in detention. Personal sacrifices. Introducing Stella Moris. Stella Moris is a South African-born lawyer and human rights advocate. She met Julian Assange in 2011 while working on his legal team. Their professional relationship developed into a personal one, and in 2015 they became a couple. They had their first child, Gabriel, in 2017, and their second child, Max, in 2019, while Assange was confined in the Ecuadorian Embassy in London.
To my family and to my children who have been denied their father, forgive me. We will be reunited soon.
On March 23, 2022, Assange and Moris married inside Belmarsh Prison in London. Stella wore a dress designed by Dame Vivienne Westwood, highlighting their commitment to each other despite the immense personal and legal challenges they faced.
Very happy. Very sad. I wish you were here.
The ultimate showdown, U.S. government and CIA's dark plans. Julian Assange's battle with the U.S. government began in 2010, after WikiLeaks' releases sparked a global debate on transparency. By 2019, Assange faced extradition to the U.S., indicted on 18 charges, including 17 under the Espionage Act, potentially leading to 175 years in prison. The unprecedented use of the Espionage Act against Assange, a publisher, raised significant concerns about press freedom and the First Amendment, threatening the role of the press in holding the government accountable and deterring journalists from exposing wrongdoing. In 2021, a Yahoo News report detailed how senior officials within the Trump administration and the CIA seriously considered plans to kidnap and kill Assange while he was in the Ecuadorian Embassy in London.
You still love WikiLeaks?
I know nothing about WikiLeaks. It's not my thing.
WikiLeaks! I love WikiLeaks!
These plans, plotted in 2017 after the publication of the Vault 7 documents, revealed the CIA's hacking tools, which intensified efforts to neutralize him. Under CIA Director Mike Pompeo, proposals ranged from snatching Assange from the embassy, poisoning him, and staging a shootout in the streets of London, with potential collaboration with British authorities. Famously stating, "Nothing's off limits. I'll worry about the lawyers in Washington." The CIA assassination plot profoundly impacted Assange's legal battles. His defense team argued against extradition to the U.S., citing extreme risk to his safety and potential inhumane treatment, including his assassination.
Julian Assange and his kind are not the slightest bit interested in improving civil liberties or enhancing personal freedom. They have pretended America's First Amendment freedoms shield them from justice. They may have believed that, but they are wrong.
Assange's legacy, freedom and transparency. Julian Assange is regarded as a hero for his unwavering commitment to transparency and freedom of information. His ideology can be understood by analyzing some of his thoughts.
If wars can be started by lies, peace can be started by truth.
Assange believes that exposing the truth is essential for achieving peace. He emphasizes that transparency is a tool used to achieve justice. Assange asserts that impactful journalism naturally provokes controversy by challenging the status quo.
People often ask, what can I do? The answer is not so difficult. Learn how the world works. Challenge the statements and intentions of those who seek to control us behind a facade of democracy and monarchy. Unite in common purpose and common principle to design, build, document, finance, and defend. Learn, challenge, act, now.
Thank you for making it to the end of the video. Click here to watch the most incredible story of how a young freedom fighter gifted freedom to his country.